Okay, welcome to the fifth chapter of the Queen of Hearts Chronicle. Short little scenes today. We had some extra time to do some bonus scenes, so I figured we'd meet up and we'd do some scenes that we wanted to wrap up from last session.
Okay, would this be the fifth chapter or the 4.5?
Well, I don't like doing 0.5s because otherwise then the last one would have been a 0.5. So I'm specifically not doing that. That's a good question, though. So we're going to continue from where we left off. I know that Williem wanted to do a dream sequence, but after that would also be the scene where he kind of meets with Lisa again. So just to sort of set the scene for me, assuming there's going to be meeting stuff going on later or downstairs or in some other room when you guys meet with the rest of the group, but in terms of where you're meeting privately, like what kind of room are you meeting in before the larger meeting happens? Because I'm assuming you'd kind of meet together and talk, but like where is it in the manner that you're having?
I'm assuming the kitchens.
Is there a problem for Lisa? Just meet in the kitchen?
For him to be in the kitchen?
Yeah.
No, it's fine by me.
Okay. So why did you escort her off to the kitchen? Like, I'm trying to imagine how this scene goes. So like there's a meeting that's about to happen and you're like, hey, okay. You just like pull her into the kitchen. Well, how does it go?
I was thinking I was actually thinking I was just gonna be in the kitchens anyway because food.
Oh yes, you start smelling food. I actually so I can almost imagine it being like this scene of like maybe Elisa's, maybe now that she knows there are going to be guests and whatnot, they have to start making food, or well, they don't have to make food for them because they're not mortal. But why do you even have what would you need a kitchen for? Now that I think about it, like
Tools and such, like
oh, that's true, I guess. I'm just like trying to imagine that. It's like you wouldn't really need much of a kitchen, so it's probably very basic.
She has a fiance who's mortal.
That's fair. She needs to have a kitchen. Where's the kitchen? Yeah, that's fair. And technically, this house wasn't built for them as a kindred. Like it's still so they have some leftover rooms they might not need anymore. But anyway, it's like so of course there'd still be a kitchen. I just don't think they wouldn't need to prepare food. But like
I imagine while Lisa was sleeping, I just went out, got meat, and was like, "Here, cook this."
You're oh, okay, sure. So but they think that you're a kindred, so that's a weird thing to ask for.
Well, yeah. I mean, as soon as I wake up after the few hours I need to sleep, I'm pretty sure that cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, fair. So you ask her to make you some meat, and I guess they could start working on that, or at least they could have their butler sort of set something up so that you could have something to eat. And so I'm sort of imagining this scene where you're kind of sniffing around the kitchen, like waiting for it to be finished, and
no one can see this, but my tail's wagging like.
Yeah, nobody can see it, but your tail's wagging, and Lisa's just sort of coming into the kitchen to check on everything, and you're just like sniffing around in there, like.
Yeah, it's like when you hit like a can opener just happened and like your animal's just like looking up. Like
yeah, so you're just like looking around because you can smell the food cooking, and Lisa just kind of walks in on you as you're doing that.
Oh wait, it's a new night, so I should spend the vitae.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so I am at 4 vitae.
You're also going to need to spend a vitae to wake up to talk to Alistair. So you can spend that now if you want, or you can spend it when we do that scene.
Wait, so I will that will be 2 different nights. Alistair doesn't come until next night.
No, it's the morning that he shows up, like right after Williem shows up.
Okay, I guess. Okay, so
But
I am.
I think we could wait until that scene actually happens for you to spend it, because you don't need to spend it. It'd be confusing
You
if you
could just
spent it
say like
now.
it happened at around the same time, where like, because then you have like 10 minutes.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense. I wouldn't make you spend it again. You would just be still awake, and then they'd come in, and you'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, just bonus. This guy came in also.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So you're in the kitchen, kind of sniffing around, and Lisa kind of walks into the kitchen while the cooks are doing their thing. She doesn't really have a. Well, she would still have a staff, but they just aren't the merit, so they're not like super effective staff. But she has people that can handle like the rest of the household. The butler isn't like doesn't do everything. So
Okay.
there are still chefs in the house. They're preparing the food, and you kind of walk in as William is kind of suspiciously like sniffing around in the food, and like when they're like spicing the meat, he's like sniffing it. It's like real, and he's I don't know if you're getting in their face, but they don't look very comfortable with you kind of just walking around in the kitchen like that.
So, what are you doing here?
Here as in your place, or here as in the kitchen?
The kitchen. You already told me why you were in the house.
Quite fascinating cooking. Animals don't have the opportunity to try meat that's not raw. Hello, Nova's mom.
Okay. I see. Would you mind coming with me for a few minutes? I would like to talk to you.
I suppose. No, don't throw out the bones.
Yeah, you see them like tossing him, and you're like, no. Do you like dig through the garbage?
Not while Lisa's there, probably.
Okay.
I'll get them later.
Okay.
When she's asleep.
Okay. So
Sorry, I just had that image in my head of just like him digging through garbage, like.
yeah, I am too. That's why I was asking him. Like, I can just imagine him doing that. So where do you relocate him to?
So I take him to the living room.
Okay. Cool.
So I think we need to discuss a few things.
Yes, I was thinking the same.
So let's see. For starter, I would appreciate if you could explain to me exactly who the enchantress is and why she is after you.
No, is this gonna give me any like PTSD or anything like that? Like,
Probably not, unless you try to remember specific details. If you're, if it's like, oh, well, you still remember like, you don't remember like, it's only if you're trying to like remember very specific things or like the actually what happened. You might not actually remember what happened in detail, but you'd know enough to give them an answer. But you would forget a lot of things.
Okay, so I'm just thinking, is there also any like changeling terms that like I would know of, like
in terms of what? That's I don't.
Well,
really
like I know she's a gentry, but like is that a word that like everyone knows?
Yes, that's a word that you would know.
Okay, so yeah, I will say she's my gentry.
Keeper's the other. So gentry is the general term. Keeper is the specific.
Yeah. My keeper.
Your keeper.
I think your kind calls them sires.
So she's the one who embraced you?
She did hug you pretty frequently, like, pet you and stuff. So if you're just looking at it from the semantic, like,
In a
prob-
way, yes.
I admit I am confused. I mean, uh, as you probably already noticed, I have been reading stuff about her, and, well, the book doesn't exactly describe her as a kindred.
Because she is not. I just use your words for reference.
So I guess you are not kindred either?
I am not. Like I told your alpha, I am a wolf.
A wolf. A werewolf?
Werewolf?
I guess not.
I'm over here.
I guess not. Okay, then what are you exactly? Clearly you are not human either.
And changeling's a word that like would probably be, I would use, right?
you
Or-
could use Fey, Changeling. Fey is a word that you could use.
Okay.
A fae?
I am a fey creature.
Oh, a fairy. Most interesting.
Something like that. I have come across fairies. Tricksy little folks, but yes, I am somewhat related to them.
To
And
the
the goblin that you killed,
goblin?
yes, the owl was a hobgoblin.
Oh. I was under the impression of goblin was some kind of, little man with beard or green.
Oh, they don't like to be called that.
It depends from whom they made or who they're made from and why.
I see. You don't mind if I take some notes?
I'm like,
So here's an interesting point: is that you would be, as this is a general sort of changeling thing. If you're wondering like what kind of motivation you might have, it's normal for changelings not to trust people because of the kind of situations you're in, and especially when you're dealing with like writing, it might be they might be trying to trick you into some kind of pledge.
yeah.
You're not sure. So
I'd rather not. If you have any idea about fairy creatures, you know that we do not like to make bargains lightly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't talking about a bargain. I was just. It's just that. Well, I find what you are telling me fascinating, and I honestly would like to learn more about this these fadings you are mentioning.
Yeah, I'm just making sure we don't have a masquerade type thing where it's like, yeah, don't tell anyone about us.
So like the interesting thing about changelings is that the mask usually will do that for you. And if you reveal yourself, the issue is not necessarily the masquerade you keep is more to protect you from the gentry and from huntsmen and from other fairy creatures, because like as an example, if you went trotting down the street in your full form, well, humans would not necessarily attack you, but they would be afraid of you, or they would be taken aback by your form, and also it basically leaks, fairy essence into the world that they can use to track you down and find you. So the reason to stay hidden is to avoid, them, and to avoid, the ire of other mortals usually.
So I would say still.
But since you, so sorry to back up a bit, but you haven't been invited to any at this point in the storyline. You haven't been invited to any, formal court where they've told you here are rules and laws.
Yeah.
So it's mostly at this point, it's mostly for your own survival, and no one's told you like, here's our masquerade. It's literally just like, if I don't use my mask, then they'll find me, kind of thing.
It's more to keep me hidden that I prefer not to have anything in writing. The more people who know I'm what I am, the more chances a huntsman or my gentry will find me.
Oh, so there are other fairy beings who are out to get you? The Enchantress, maybe?
Yes. The reason I wanted that owl was looking for me, and was probably because she was on the hunt, and he was her eyes.
She?
The owl was a sheep?
Yeah, you would know.
Okay. All right. Sorry, that was out of character mistake.
No, it's fine. You probably wouldn't know out of character, but in character you wouldn't. That's why I said in character you actually knew who that was.
Yeah. All right.
So
You mentioned the keeper was comparable to Sire. Does that mean you were human once?
Well,
I don't really even remember, probably.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear that one. What was that?
Oh, I was saying, I'm not even sure if you'd remember that far.
No, I didn't hear what Sidron said.
Oh, they were saying, I'm in Japan. No, what's
Where
the
are you
word?
human?
They were saying, were you human once? Because if it's equivalent to like a sire, that means you would have been human, but you probably don't have a lot of memories of your human life.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have vague memories of being not a wolf.
And if you want to try to remember, you can try, but you're gonna have to roll to try to think that far back.
Sure, I will roll to try to remember.
Okay, so I'm not going to make you roll like a memory roll. It's just going to be clarity. So we'll do, let's see. I'm going to say, I'm looking at the chart here. That's why I'm like checking, because I don't think it's actually that intense for you. So I'm going to say, where was I? I think it's 2 dice. Actively, yeah. So it's 2 dice, and then you get -1 from your touchstone. It doesn't, and again, the touchstone doesn't need to be physically present. It's just as long as you have it. And then I'm checking for other penalties. Affects close friend or family, not directly. Yeah, not really. Emotional investment, though. Yeah, in your human life, I'd say at least a +1, so it would cancel out. So I'll say 2 dice. I'll make it pretty easy.
All right. And
again,
I'm trying not to.
You want to fail this, yes.
Okay. Yay, I failed it.
Oh, good. Good job. Good failure. Now, you don't want to turn that into a dramatic. I don't think you have the option on this, but if you want to, you can. Let me see what happens, because I don't remember. I was actually talking with this in the chat. I was very confused as to how you would choose to fail. So in this one, I guess it would work backwards.
Yeah.
You take it into an exception.
That's what I would probably do, too, because I was like, I don't want to turn that into a dramatic failure.
Yeah. No, because it's actually good.
That's just free EXP.
It's actually good if you do that, yeah. You get willpower, actually, but it's weird because it should work backwards.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah. So you're able to remember. Again, you don't remember specifics, but there's like a haze, and it's maybe I'll let you roll like a resolve and intelligence, and I'll see if you can remember any more details beyond
Alright.
just like very fuzzy memories.
Oh, that's 4 dice. That's
Yeah,
not
not
nothing.
bad. I'll see like to what degree you can.
2 successes.
2 successes isn't bad. So instead of it, you actually remember what you looked like. You know, you have an idea of like sort of your self image, but this is going back, you know, in your own mental sort of state. You know, it goes back decades at this point.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible, but you have a hard time recalling like details. You remember probably things that you were very familiar with, maybe that you remember that you had a family, but you don't remember any details about them specifically because it's been very long, a very long time. You remember like your own kind of self identity in a way, like you remember that you were human and what you might have looked like, but you don't remember any kind of concrete details. So you would know like what you look like physically.
Yeah.
And of course that's sort of similar to what you look like now, although with maybe some slight changes. So it doesn't change too much, but you remember sort of being in that state of being human. So you can answer the question, but that's literally like all you remember in terms of yourself. Like you remember you were human, but it's so faded that it's almost like it's a dream.
It's like hunting in a fog. I have some images, but they are hazy at best.
But you know you were human once, right?
I was, yes.
You know, I was human too only a few months ago. My embrace, that's how we call being transformed into vampire, was something recent. And I can let you imagine how it was for me to find out of nowhere that vampires were real. Point is, I found out the world was much bigger and much more secret than I expected. So now I am just curious. I want to find out more about it. Find out more about all these secrets. To make discoveries. I don't know if you understand, but that's why I am asking you so many questions.
Yes.
Now,
Just-
if you don't want people to know about it, I respect that and I would be willing to keep it a secret. But for my personal curiosity, I would like to learn more.
I understand the hunt for knowledge, but some creatures are not worth the hunt.
Trust me, I learned that the hard way.
I actually want to make an aside because I found this really interesting. And I'm gonna clarify something because this is actually important. As it is written specifically in the traditions, like the vampiric traditions, it says you only tell other kindred or only those of the blood. So it was written in a very specific way in that sense. But it says you can kind of expand that to other supernaturals if it makes sense. And in this case, it's established. And this is something that is clear to Lisa. There are other Fae in London, and they've interacted with the kindred before. It's just not in an extremely like tight manner. Like they don't have an embassy or anything like that. But there are Fae who like walk around, so like they know of each other. So I'm expanding it to you can tell other supernaturals about kindred. But it's funny because I looked in the book and it as it is written, rules is written, without any interpretation. It's like you don't tell anything that's not kindred.
Well, that's because we go with the assumption
Right. Most games aren't going to be crossover, but I just wanted to clarify that in this case, it's totally okay for you. You aren't breaking the masquerade by having this kind of conversation.
Well, he knew already vampires were real anyway, so...
Fair enough.
Yeah, I was just at a dinner party with a bunch of vampires. And
Right, of course.
Okay, so...
I think I know a way to help each other out with what we both want.
Oh, you do? And what do you want exactly?
I want to survive and hide amongst your kind.
Sorry, it's just that I guess if what my sire told me about vampires is true, then trying to survive among us could be actually just as dangerous as trying to live in the wild.
Well, I've done that, so...
Fair enough. Alright, then yes, I guess we can mutually help each other.
Alright. Then we'll have a bargain.
I thought you said you didn't take bargains lightly.
Yes, we have our bargains are our word, or in our word are our bonds, so it means a lot to us that we fulfill them and have them be fulfilled.
Oh.
But there are benefits. You'll get to see me as I truly am, and to everyone else I'll appear more like you.
You mean that's not what you actually look like?
It's not. It's a mask, as it were. A way for me to hide amongst mortals. My prey. I'm a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Oh, really? Very well, you have my attention. What should we do exactly?
Well, I can provide services to you, perhaps. From my understanding of what happened last night, you cannot hunt during the day.
Yes, unfortunately, we have a bad tendency to turn into ash during the day.
Well, I sometimes provide services of garden for my mistress. Perhaps I could do the same for you, and in return you let me stay at your den and offer me shelter.
That sounds reasonable.
Well, okay, you agreed. So now the only thing that Williem has to do is spend glamour, and then it's good.
Yes. Let's see.
And you can also seal it if you like. That's a whole different thing entirely. But you can also seal them to the deal. You shouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it. But you could enforce the promise so that if they break that deal, like if they kick you out of the house, you can actually be like, well, now you're cursed. But we don't need to go into that.
Yeah,
That's good enough.
I'm sure you won't like stab me in the back or anything like that. So
right. Of course.
I'll just spend the one glamour.
Okay. So essentially what happens is you can kind of, both of you immediately get this sense that you're now bound together in this bargain. So what I'm going to do is for Dustin, you are going to, on your sheet, you get another condition. It is called obligated, yes.
All right.
So I'll copy paste that to you just so that you have it. And then I'll explain the metaphysical effects of this contract.
Okay.
So let me just, and of course you would replace human being in this case with vampire. but you are allowed to swear bargains with supernaturals. It specifically says that you can, but what happens next is something that you are not prepared for.
Nope.
Let me just get you this first before we continue. Boop, boop.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
What's
So,
that?
so you both immediately feel this connection. Not really like physically, but it's there on like a instinctual kind of sixth sense, kind of you sense this connection being formed between you, and with this Williem, you feel a strong kind of change overwhelming you to the degree that you don't really know what is happening. It's incredibly sudden, but you feel this strong pull towards the society of the night. The sense of hunger is even deeper in you than before. This taste for blood, this sense of loneliness, this loss of your humanity. You connect with Lisa on a deeper level than you would have ever thought possible, and you sort of take on the traits of a kindred. Not entirely, you're not dependent upon blood, but you develop enough of these traits where you could at least seem like a kindred, and in that way you feel the life inside of your body kind of shift and meld and decay. So you literally, for a moment, kind of feel yourself slipping into this strange form of unlife, of death. But you're not completely dead. You're able to still live and breathe, but the death inside lingers and bubbles to the surface. So your mask becomes more pale, more unliving, more unhuman, and you take on at least the appearance outwardly of being of a vampire.
So basically, he's a vampire disguise.
Mm-hmm. So like his mask would fool other kindred into believing that he was truly of their kind.
Okay.
So instead of his mask kind of forming into a human mask where he can mask himself to be a human being, he now takes on these kindred traits that would allow him to be more kindred-like. And I think one of the things that we discussed, at least when I was looking into this, was with the chat, we were talking about different ways that it could express, like maybe now you don't have a reflection, or maybe now you don't have the same kind of features like I kind of described, like you would look more or dead, at least on the outside. Now, of course, what Lisa sees now in front of her is a, I'm not sure if you want to be in this way, if you want to be bipedal or if you just want to be on all fours when you're talking to Lisa, but she sees what you truly are.
Mm-hmm.
So I see guys with fur and wolf ears.
Dustin can describe it if he wants. If you want to give them the details.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of thinking of like, all right, how do I want to do this? Because it's like I can take it in both ways. Like,
yeah, that's why, and it could be either or. That's kind of why it's interesting to me. So.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, so many choices. I think I'd rather it actually be like a like four-legged wolf type thing, like
sure,
a very like I think like the picture I sent in the OC would probably work, like If you saw that one, the little Red Riding Hood one.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could post it again so they could see it, but that's a good example. Yeah, that's kind of what I imagine him looking like most of the time.
Yeah.
I have it right here in front of me. Yes.
That one.
Yeah. Do you make any kind of but you're calm, so you're not like growling at them, I assume.
Yeah.
We were just asking because if not, then they might go into frenzy if you terrified them in that kind of form.
That was just the very
very bestial looking, not very human at all.
So you're a wolf.
yes.
Impressive.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear what you said.
This is impressive.
Impressive. Well, a deal is a deal. You are welcome here as long as you want.
Yes, and I shall guard your den during the day.
Thank you. Now, since seeing you acted sooner, I assume you do need food. So, would you like me to arrange for our shift to bring you something to eat?
Yes, that would be most appreciated. So now I'm in the mood for something a bit more bloody.
I will see to that. And thank you for everything.
Oh, actually, I'm looking at the telltale things, and I was like, oh, like Bigsby actually changes into like a full wolf. That is actually cool. So maybe I'm kind of picturing it like that, where it's like, okay.
I'm a bit confused, but
You know the Telltale game? What
yeah,
was it?
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Wolf Among
The main
Us.
character also just fully turns into a wolf, and like,
Yeah, he does.
yeah, I didn't realize that. I just always saw him as the like very hairy version.
Oh yeah. So if you like, I was imagining it where you would appear either or. It kind of depends on
Yeah, we can do that where it's like,
because like if you're standing up, you obviously look like a wolf who's standing on two legs because you can stand. But if you're if you're not, then you look like a wolf.
mm-hmm.
So when I say wolf man, it's not like because I think that's why it's different for me. It's like you're not a like a Garu where you are you're in like a war form where you're like a bipedal thing. You're literally just a wolf who like can stand up.
Yeah, okay.
It's a little different,
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look like you'd be, like something like a werewolf. You're literally just like either a hairy man or like a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what makes you different than, again, like an actual werewolf.
Yeah.
Okay.
And your keeper would have transformed you into a wolf, not a wolf man. So the wolf man aspect only exists because you have a mask and you have to walk around on two legs and such.
Yeah.
So like your natural form is just you as a wolf.
Yeah, sorry, just getting all the terminology. Like,
no, it's good to understand because it probably was confusing for a bit. I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure how I wanted to handle it, but I think that if we did it this way, it'd be fine.
Okay.
So there's now a wolf in your house.
Yeah.
Oh, Right, sorry. For Dustin, so also on top of the condition, under your merits, I'd want you to you don't need to mark the haven because you're already technically like sharing that. But you'd want to put that you have 1 dot of resources that you're sharing with Lisa.
Oh, yeah,
It's
and
not
what was this condition called again?
it's called obligated.
Obligated. Thank you.
So the condition is there, and also on your under your merits, you'd add that you gain a point of resources, but it's not you don't own it. You're sharing it with Lisa because technically they're not losing resources and they're not giving it to you, but you both have access to the same resources merit
Yeah.
because they're letting you use it. But you don't own it, and they're not giving you any of their resources directly. It's more of like a magical technically, but it's also makes sense. Like they can actually physically give you money, but in this case, they're sharing it with you, which isn't normally possible, of course, under the rules. But in this case, it's kind of a magical effect. So, like, if they didn't give you money, you could. Well, you didn't bind them, but if you wanted to, you could be like, "Hey, you promised me money."
Yeah.
If you wanted to get out of them, you could magically, but that's a little different. And I'm not. You don't need to write the haven on your sheet because it still belongs to Lisa. But the resources, I felt like you'd want to mark that because that's harder to remember. Usually, you share havens anyway. So it's not unless you, let's say, want to like put merit points into it by spending, but that's not really because you do have that option now that you're sharing it with them.
Yeah.
That's not really an option you have right now, obviously. You have to spend XP on
right now, she just got a roommate, so.
Yeah. No, she didn't get a roommate. That's very important. No, she got a bodyguard. You're not her roommate. You actually have to do the job. I'm serious. Like it's not. You can't literally just live there and accept.
Let's say associate.
Because the way that these bargains work is that if you don't hold up your end and like don't actually do the job, then you actually get you get a negative effect.
Yeah. I don't know. I still call that roommates because I'm still paying a service here.
Well,
I'm just not paying. Like my rent is, hey, I'm watching you each night. Like,
basically, yes, yeah. That you don't have to pay them anything.
Yeah.
Well, you mean each day?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Don't be technical.
I know.
Well, actually.
See, it's interesting because there might be a way. Like I was thinking about if all of you end up taking this deal, I might just hold all of you to day sleep so that you'll all be awake during the night. But but for now, yeah, that's not going to be the case. But as things go, it might become unnecessary. But you still would need a bodyguard regardless, whether it's during the day or during the night, because there are still vampires that come around that aren't friendly. That's still an issue, and other supernaturals, and you know that there are others out there who are looking for you.
Yeah.
And you know that there are probably other things besides those. There's a few things that you know of that are also a threat. So it's worth having a bodyguard who can be around, especially if they happen to have magic powers.
Yeah. The mask thing is kind of cool because I'm like, could I just do this with any type of thing? Like,
yes, in theory.
Your kind is quite different than mortals. Interesting.
Yes, we are. And yet we are still trying to act like we are humans. Strange, isn't it?
Are you moving back towards the kitchen?
Well, not for now.
Okay.
I ordered my staff to bring food for us.
Okay. So your staff, is bringing food up then.
You know, I was embraced by accident originally. The vampire who actually transformed me didn't intend to. He wanted to kill me. But something went wrong when he did that, and I woke up as an undead. And then my sire found me and helped me turn into a full vampire.
So your transformations aren't punishments. Interesting.
I am honestly not sure what it was. Mine was a reward for helping stopping the first vampire who tried to kill me. But it was a reward because the state he had left me in was way, way worse. You don't want to know the details. But you are telling yours was a punishment?
You
Yes.
did read the book, so if what you know is true, then
So the enchantress turned you into a wolf because you went through a forest?
Yes.
I'm sorry to hear.
I'm not going to make you roll clarity for that. Don't worry.
Okay. I was just like, I more was debating like, do I go into details here or like try to?
It's only if you try to think about it, direct, or if you try to remember. But them giving you, it actually, like it specifically says, if they tell, it would be the reverse. If they tell you, oh, what happened to you wasn't real, then you would have to roll clarity. But they're technically doing the reverse of that, so you don't need to roll clarity. If they're telling you, oh, this happened to you, then it's not a clarity roll. But actually, if they were doing the reverse and they're saying, oh, that was just a story, it's not real, you couldn't have been turned into a wolf if they were immortal or something, if they weren't accepting of the supernatural.
I can't exactly tell him he couldn't have been turned into
he saw it, but
a giant wolf.
But the idea being that technically the clarity roll for this kind of thing only works if they are trying to disprove your story.
I'm sorry to hear what happened to you. You seek revenge against her, maybe? Or
Revenge is something I wish for, but I do not know how. She is very powerful.
yes, the book does describe her as such. There are things even other monsters fear.
And I don't think this is something very obvious out of character, but I think it'd be somewhat obvious in character as well that that they have weaknesses, but you weren't able to discover necessarily what those were. So you're sure that there is a weakness that you could exploit of theirs, but you don't know what it is, and you would have had no idea what it could possibly be.
I'm sure the enchantress didn't go like, "Hello, my name's Superman. This is my weakness."
Yeah, exactly. And then it took you 2 campaigns just to figure out what princess's weaknesses were. So, we'll see.
Punch the taint.
But most supernatural creatures do have weaknesses. I mean, for example, vampires fear the sun. So maybe if I did some research, I could help you find something that can harm her.
That would be appreciated. I also have a feeling that I should go somewhere.
Hmm.
Maybe it will help.
I guess we could try looking for more changelings. Was the dragon you saw at the night like someone like you?
Yes, he is like me, only not like me. So was the little one that came to your house after me, as well as the doctor.
So there were multiple changelings taking part in this night.
Yes. I do not know why we were all invited. Perhaps someone sold us out. Someone can see us for what we are.
So maybe a good first lead could be to look for why so many changeling ended up in a vampire court.
Yeah.
Some investigation might be needed. I will see what I can find.
Thank you. And I will see what I can find.
In the meantime, as I said, make yourself at home.
I plan to. I imagine that's when the food comes here, and I'm just like,
Do you still need willpower for the record, or are you full on willpower?
I am not full on willpower. I only have 1 out of 5.
So again, for your touchstone, you get one back because they cook this for you. So I'm gonna count it, even though again the food doesn't necessarily need to be made by your family, but it just needs to remind you of your home. And this you might have asked them to prepare it. You might have even asked them to prepare it like a specific way. You know, like, oh, make it like this, and or maybe you give them a recipe that you had lying around your house that you would remember, something like that.
I count home cooking as is this someone's home? Are they cooking? Yes.
Oh well, I didn't. I kind of assumed it was more like literally, but yeah, your home. But no, it can just be anybody's home. Yeah, that also makes sense. I was misunderstanding it because I was thinking more your home cooking, like physically your house. But I guess I definitely kind of.
If I wanted something that, I would probably write like grandma's recipe or something.
Right,
like that,
right. Now I understand where you were coming from. You meant a personal like meal from a house. Okay, that's even better because that's more broad. I like it. I was trying to stretch it, so it was like, well, somehow you managed to make your gremlins potatoes. Like, no, it's a house. So yeah, you kind of dig in, and it does actually. So you still get that feeling of you start to remember, but they're not painful memories. These are like because it's the touchstone is kind of keeping you grounded to reality. You have that sense of, oh, well, I'm eating food, and this is something that reminds me of home and the home that you lost, but it's keeping you kind of grounded to that idea, that memory, that part of you that still exists. Because deep down, it's still there somewhere, but it's so warped and so changed and so damaged that it could never be fully recovered, but it's there.
Perhaps you can help me a little further. You know this location. Is there a place where mortals go to get angry? Or feel?
Out of therapy, do I have to make a roll to see if I know a place like that?
I think so, but it would depend on like what knowledge you're drawing from, I guess. Because if it's your knowledge of like the city, it'd be like streetwise, or if it's like your knowledge of like, oh, I know where some anger spirits are, it'd be like a call. I'm because you could determine that kind of answer multiple ways. You could know like occult wise, like where there are a lot of anger, like spiritually concentrated. You could physically know like places where people who are more aggressive, hang
How
out.
about how about
know.
socialized politics or academics? Does one of those work?
I could see like, do you have do you have a socialized specialty, or is it just socialized?
I do have a socialized specialty, and it's formal events.
Formal events. So I would say you could use socialized to know, but it wouldn't cover your specialty.
I guess anger isn't really the right word. I guess where people go to be primal. I guess that was what. Because I think I remember saying like, oh yeah, he feeds off of his favorites like primal, like.
Yeah.
Okay, So I try with. So I have to make a roll of socialized plus something else.
It would be intelligence, probably.
Oh, then that's very good because that gives me 5 dice.
Yeah, like what social circles you know of that might associate with what he's asking. Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
This would probably apply to like types of people, or like group or events or things like that you know of that are happening.
Okay. 3 successes.
That's very good. In terms of primal things, maybe he could go to like a den, or maybe not a drug den, but
yeah,
more
I was gonna
like
say you should probably be clear when you say den, because I'm like
more like a house of desires, so to speak. Maybe some kind of club, or brothel, or perhaps maybe he would be looking, if he's looking for something more violent. You absolutely abhor this sort of thing, but they have underground, fighting, sort of rings, or boxing is very popular, boxing.
I think the last one is very good. Oh, by the way, hello, Kara.
Hello.
Yes, hello. They might be busy or something, but they're there. But yeah, you're aware that they have sort of organizations of street boxing, but you sort of disagree with that on a personal level, but they exist.
Okay.
And you could take him to one. You could get tickets easily, just like, oh, you want tickets for a thing. Yeah.
I do know one place around the street where they have underground box fights. I personally despise that sort of thing, but I am sure you would find people who are hungry enough to satisfy your need.
Yes. That should do.
I should also probably clarify, because this would be part of your role, because this is kind of going into the socialized aspect of it as well, like why it would be related to a group. Like these are organized by like criminals. So like that's another reason why it's not really very good. These are like, they have these fights that are organized by gangs, basically like these sort of boxing matches, and they're not necessarily like, I wouldn't say they're necessarily like illegal, but you don't really want to have fights in the street where it's okay, like the police would probably stop, but like the reason why they'd be happening at night is because they're organized by these gangs, and essentially they aren't very safe.
Okay.
So it's something you know about, and you probably know other people who have talked about these kind of things in the past, but you never really wanted to get involved with it.
Okay. Well, I guess I will take into one then.
Okay. Do you guys want to play out a scene like that, or Do you want to go? So I'll give Dustin the option. We can either you can try to get glamour from the boxing match, or we can do a dream because I did come up with an idea for the dream sequence. Would you want to go fast forward or backward here? I'll leave it to your choice. Rewind or fast forward because I'm okay with you.
I was gonna say we can. We also need to do a scene with Alistair later. So.
You mean Erravok, or do you mean Alistair? Well, Alistair, yes, of
yeah,
course.
because they wanted to talk to us too, and
so yeah, I think that it would make sense if we did the dream then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Figured out what I wanted to do with it now because you kind of gave me an idea.
You wanted to do your scene with Kara since we've been doing.
Yes.
So we should just do a roll for to collect glamour in the box fight.
I think that would come after we do the meeting, but that would we could definitely set something up for it after the next session or during the next session for sure.
Never mind what I said then.
On Wednesday. Yeah, normally I would just do it really quick, but it wouldn't make sense for him to leave because this would be when you guys are all meeting.
Yeah, and Alistair did say she wanted to have talk with us also. So
right, that's kind of why.
I was asking because I was actually considering seizing the opportunity to feed my character as well.
Just like everyone just kind of, while there's a fight, he just like knocks someone out. You just like take some of their blood, and then at the same time, he's like taking away their emotions, and they're just like completely out of it.
Well, I will. In my defense, I will be a cute woman in the middle of many, many men, so it shouldn't be easy to get their attention.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know if Car is muted or if they're busy, though, so we'll see. I'm okay with just waiting it out, though. I have not a lot going on tonight.
Yeah.
But that's why I was saying I can do this scene really quick with you, the dream sequence, because it would probably only take a few minutes.
All right, well, let's do that then while we wait for Kara.
Do you want to get glamour? I don't know if this is like a house rule or if it's a thing, but I usually wouldn't want you getting glamour from your own dream because it feels weird. But I think according to the rules, you can.
May I? So just to, never mind. I will wait until the end of the.
No,
session.
what's up? Is it more of an out-of-character thing?
It's about aspirations.
Oh, okay, yeah, then we can leave that till the end, yes.
Okay, well, then I will be just there waiting while he does his sequence, because I don't think you need me for that.
No, because it would have made sense if you were doing it now. You could both fall asleep, but since you're awake, that wouldn't work.
Okay. Well,
unless he offers to like send you into some kind of weird group meditation, because technically you don't need to be sleeping. You could like meditate.
Okay, well, happy dreams, Dustin.
Oh, actually, I could probably mention that. Like, yeah, would you like me to protect your dreams also? Like what?
Yeah, why not, right?
But enough talk. I will let his dream sim already.
Okay.
Asking this for a while now.
So first thing you need to do, Dustin, is technically you still need to roll to see if you can reach the dream state. Because if you don't succeed, then you don't get to have the dream at all. It's still possible for it to fail.
Yeah. What do I roll here?
It's resolve composure, so willpower.
Oh, okay. So like one of my two best there.
Good.
I mean, okay, that's still 5 dice, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, that's not
things
bad.
that I'm actually good at. So
I'm gonna check if you can gather glamour from yourself, because I think a rules is written you can. It feels weird to me.
3 successes.
That's okay. That's definitely, you don't even need more than 1. So there you go. Set up the scene for me. So, because you have complete control over the dream. So you can set something up, and then I'll give you more details as to what you would expect.
So, I am in a vast, beautiful forest, green leaves everywhere, and through through my sights, I see a big, juicy elk
Mm-hmm.
across the distance. I hide amongst the forest, stealth my way closer, smelling its flesh. You can't see it right now, but I'm almost making out with my mic here.
Sounds nice.
Mm-hmm. I stalk up closer to it. It is a clear, beautiful day. I get ready to pounce. It's caught wind of me. It starts to run. I give chase.
Could you
Anytime
give
you
me
want to jump in.
could you give me like a Dex survival, please?
Sure. Dex survival. That is 5 dice.
Please also subtract your composure from this.
All right.
Because you're in a dream.
Yeah, my composure. That is subtract composure?
Yes. So whatever your because it's your subconscious.
Okay, so -3.
Right.
That is, okay. So only 2 dice for this.
That's correct.
2 successes.
3 successes. So 2 successes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you have the choice of here, just to explain how dream shaping works, you can change an aspect of the dream by spending a glamour. So you can choose, and you'll probably get glamour back from finishing the dream, but you need to actually, and you can actually get glamour back from doing this as well, I think. Let me see. You got 2 successes, so that would be, you would get 1 extra. Let me see if you can, what you can do with 1. Learn all the, so in the book, the page you'll want to be at is 219. You can see this chart.
All right.
And then you would be able to get any, and you would be able to get any of the 1 success effects.
Yeah, let me
if you
look
spend
this
a
up.
glamour.
What page is it?
219.
All right. Sorry, PDF is being slow.
It's fine. Take your time. So, like, the main ones that'd be relevant is you can learn whether this elk is actually important. You can learn the traits. You can learn all the traits of that thing, of the elk itself. You can replace the elk with a different. So in this case, you could replace it with another animal. You could reduce, replace one kind of prop, which in this case you don't have any props, so that wouldn't be.
I think learn if this elk is important is probably the most relevant. Like,
right. Okay. So let me look up something real quick.
yeah. What?
But you have to spend glamour for that.
Uh-huh.
So do you want to spend a glamour for
Sure.
Ooh.
that? Okay. Give me a sec.
All right.
So
Hello,
you so as you're chasing this elk, I Googled dream interpretation websites and determined
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
what it would mean. You find that the elk is you actually recognize this in your, not necessarily your subconscious, but your conscious, because you're dreaming this. You understand that the elk, as you're chasing it, it's moving in a very specific direction. Normally, in this kind of dream, you would expect it to. You spent the glamour, right?
Yes, I did.
I'm just making sure. So as you're running through the forest, you'd expect the elk to run out towards the glades, out towards the grasses, out towards where it would have more of an open kind of field. But rather than that, it weaves through the trees and kind of does this strange sort of turn, leading you back in towards the woods, almost like a maze, like it's leading you down a forest path.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clearly trying to trap you into a specific location. You have to decide what the best course of action is. You know that the the enchantress is going to trick you, use other animals to manipulate you. You have to make your choice how you're going to seek your victory. Because if you hesitate, then it will result in weakness on your part.
Yeah.
You can sense that this is a sign of the incoming sort of difficulties that you will face. The struggles that the enchantress presents, the physical animal, but also the pattern it's moving. The enchantress is not someone who acts directly. They'll try to mislead you, to misguide you, to perhaps even fool you into returning to her domain.
All right.
So what decision do you make?
I'm just thinking about this now because I'm like, I have multiple ways I can go about this.
Of course.
So I'm like, what would Williem do? Like,
what would Williem do? I'll go after it anyway. Why not? It's like, that's the trick, you idiot. Don't fall for the trap. It's like, that's the whole point of it. It's like, of course you would fall for the trap because that's what Williem would do. But the whole point is to show that he shouldn't do. He's supposed to learn.
Change the landscape to make a pit trap like where the elk is going.
Okay. Which skill do you want to? Do you have a skill in particular that you would? Because I would still say that's survival, but I'm wondering what. It's not crafts. It could be crafts if you're better. I don't think you're better at crafts.
No, I am not better at crafts.
I'm trying to think what would be good for shaping the environment here.
I do have a specialty in. Never mind. That hunting specialty is in stealth. Oh, actually,
I'm saying attribute. I'm trying to pick an attribute because it could be a few things here.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say presence maybe because it's a dream, and you.
Yes and no, but in this case, in this case, I'll go for presence.
Wits could also work. Like
wits. I'll go with wits and survival. Sure.
All right. And this is minus composure again, or?
Yeah, that's correct.
Why did I have to make my composure so damn high?
It's interesting because it does protect you in dreams, but it also makes it difficult for you to shape your own dreams because you have to protect against yourself.
That's 2 successes still.
That's still good.
I am very lucky with these rolls.
So I will just allow that to happen because it says you can just introduce a twist. But you have to spend another glamour to do that. And you'll get glamour back once you catch it. I'll allow that at this point. But
all right.
I'm not sure how much you'll get back. That'll be up to what you roll.
Well, I'm at 1 out of 10 glamour. So.
Oh, great. Well,
good thing I'm going hunting.
Let's hope that you don't, lose all of it.
Yeah.
So you, I'll just assume it's like a net. Or did you want it to be like a spring, like what kind of trap?
I was just thinking it's basically like a hole in the ground, like where
like Team Rocket hole. Like, okay, got it. So
yeah, a Team Rocket hole, basically.
So you kind of play this 4D. You're playing 4D chess at this point. You're like, well, it's going in a circle towards towards where it was trying to lead me to a trap, but I already placed a trap where it was going to trap me. So you're playing like 3 moves ahead somehow. You've already placed this trap ahead of it. And as it kind of tries to weave through the forest, you see it drop into this hole that you've created, hidden underneath the leaves.
So yeah, I will walk towards the hole and look down at it and lunge like.
Okay, this is gonna be the actual where you get your glamour back. So it'll be it'll be probably either Dex or Strength plus Brawl, whatever you'd prefer.
I would prefer Dex.
Sure, Dex is fine. Go ahead.
Strength is shit. And all right.
Cool.
I mean, it's not shit, but it's less dice in my Dex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
And I'm guessing minus composure again, or
In this case, no.
all right. So I get my full dice. Yay! So,
If you want extra glamour, I'd
ooh,
suggest
one success.
Oh, one success? Oh,
Yeah.
that's not a lot. Okay, well, you would get one glamour back then
All right.
from kind of pouncing on this elk, and you kind of you take a bit of it. You know, obviously that's what you intended.
Mhm.
You retrieve the victory by planning ahead, that sort of thing. You take bits off of this elk, and you feel the energy kind of moving into you from it, from whatever this spirit of the dream or this creature was trying to communicate to you.
Mhm.
It's very slight. It doesn't satisfy you because you kind of conjured it from yourself.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not raw. It's not real. The emotions are a phantom of what they could be.
Mhm.
You
I gotta hunt other people's dreams. There we go.
Yeah, that would actually make this much more potent. But you're basically more feeding from yourself than you are feeding from other people, and it's not as strong.
Yeah.
You as you kind of finish consuming your meal, you feel this strange sort of compulsion as you make your way out of the forest, kind of trying to understand where this feeling, this instinct is guiding you. From out of the forest, you see the sun rising over into the sky, kind of gleaming brightly. This heat, you feel it almost as if it's engulfing your whole body. You're not burning, it's not painful, but you feel the warmth of the summer sun and the heat kind of basking over you, like as if you were walking in reality, like this very potent, powerful feeling of the strength of the sun. And you kind of instinctually are aware that it is summer in the reality, and you feel the strength of the season itself, as if it's calling to you. And across the horizon, as you're moving out of the forest, you can see over a hill. There's like a large hill and a coastline. You see, kind of in the distance, like this landscape almost. And on the hill, you can see in the far distance, there's actually a large castle, like like as if you were looking at a picture or a fantasy, like of a storybook. It's a castle. It's an actual, like a medieval castle, kind of placed against the hillside, and it looks almost too fantastic to be real. And as you kind of start running towards the castle on all fours, trying to reach it, you wake up.
Okay. And then fast forward.
Yep. So I think you still get another willpower back from that, but I think that the timeline would be weird. But I'll give you a willpower for that.
All right. Well, now I get 3 willpower and 2 glim.
Yes.
I'm slowly crawling back.
Yeah. Is Kara there? I don't know. I'm not sure. Hello?
I thought I heard their mic before. Oh, just pouring coffee.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I think so. We can do something while they're doing their thing. I think you said that was an aspiration. You wanted to do the dream thing.
Yes, that was right.
And this is also going to count towards the summer court as well. So you'd get 2 beats.
Oh, nice.
Yes, because instinctually you're aware of what it means, but and out of character, that's what it means. But you're not sure 100%. But this is what it's calling you.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of give it as a vision so that it would make sense. You're not just like, I feel it. Like, no, you feel it because you actually had the stream.
All right, so that clears my first aspiration and then my backup aspiration? Or?
No, see was it not in your main 3? Because I thought that
No,
was
it
actually.
wasn't my main 3, sadly, because
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, you're. Let me see your sheet then. I guess I made a mistake. Well, so you wouldn't get a beat for that then for the summer court. Oh, right, because you were using it as a backup for later.
Yeah, like
oh, right. Okay.
now that I know, like, hey, I'm being drawn to this place, like, yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, let's take
so
one
the
beat.
dream, yeah, actually. So what technically would happen would be you'd put that one into that slot.
Yeah.
Okay, but you wouldn't get the beat for it because it just happened.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Like,
yeah.
I was like, oh.
But at least I'm setting it up so that now
Yeah.
it's not coming out of nowhere. Well, it is coming out of nowhere, but it's not coming out of nowhere. Like at least I've sort of explained how the feeling kind of manifests for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have your mantle still. So this is kind of where the mantle comes from as well. The mantle still exists whether you are part of. Well, technically it doesn't, but I'd assume the way I'm kind of seeing it is you still have the mantle either way. Because you're still connected to the court magically, but you've not formed an oath with the court.
Yeah, it's like chakra for Naruto. Like,
yeah,
when they introduce elements, like, hey, you're drawn to this one element. Like,
that's fair. Yeah, no, you still have the aspects of that thing, but you just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
So, just so I have an idea, for Williem, before you talk to Lisa, after you wake up, do you just sort of have thoughts about this, or?
Yeah,
because we didn't really get to explore the interim, but I'd want to give you some time to do that.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think that, like, I guess it depends on which room I am, but I'm going to kind of like
you're in the bedroom that they brought you to.
So I will like look out the window and like
howl at the moon.
Well, not really howl at the moon. Like I already did that like last session, so like
right.
I'm going to just kind of like look up at it like longingly, like kind of wondering like.
You can make me like another wits survival.
Wits survival. All right.
Like. And there is relevancy for this. It's not just.
So that is 5 dice. All right. I have a lot of 5 dices.
Yeah, that's good though. That's not a bad number.
That's 2 successes.
Very good. You get a sense that if this place exists, if this castle is real, it would be far away from wherever you are in the city. It would be outside of the society, and you can't even really see anything because there are so many buildings, tall buildings in the way. You can't get an idea of the world outside.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to find this castle, you would need to go outside of the city somewhere, and at least to get a better look. You can't even physically see it, but you know it's out there. You have that feeling.
There is a castle in Sorry.
Hi, Kara.
Hello.
Would you like to do a scene? I have time for that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
The whole morning's been like Bruce Willis.
What you got glass on your feet?
Rocks.
Gotcha.
The fucking driveway, but
Ooh.
Woke up a little bit before 10, so it's like, oh shit, garbage.
I got you.
So I'm like, out the door with the garbage. Get there just as the truck's pulling up.
Okay.
Garbage goes in. Final Fantasy fanfare plays. Show up and I'm like, what? Session.
Yeah,
No one told me about a second.
we were scheduling it for Wednesday, but then we decided that since Lisa had some extra time, we would try to run a scene. We got a scene done.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to try to do it because there was an interim scene that I wanted to do with you that if we did it now, it would save a lot of time for later. So we can just get it done. And you don't necessarily need anybody else around to do it either, so it works perfectly.
All right. So I will mute and order a pizza.
Great.
Ooh, pizza.
So the last time that we saw Erravok, he was chomping away at some meat that was given to him at the hotel. He would have been basically giving clothes, and you fell asleep for a very long time. You had a long, involved dream fight that ended climactically for you, and then you would have actually woken up in the afternoon. Now, of course, the people who are caring for you at the hotel don't expect you to be awake in the afternoon. They expect you to be awake at night. So when you wake up, you're surprised to see that there isn't anybody in the room. The hotel is still open. It's not necessarily closed at night, but it's very quiet and it feels very empty. The only sounds that you can really pick out, especially since you still have sort of high clarity at this point, I don't think you've taken any damage, have you?
Not physically, no.
No, but the clarity damage, I mean, on your...
Only, No.
So none. So yeah, you still have a very sharp sense of reality around you. You can hear carriages outside, people walking on the cobblestones outside. It's the middle of the day, and this is again a very stark contrast to last night where it was very empty and you were almost thrown into this occult scene, like a horror scene. But now it's the middle of the day and everything seems very normal. This is not the kind of thing we would normally see in a vampire campaign, but of course, this is also a Changeling Chronicle, so we get to see what you do while you're kind of meandering about during the afternoon. The door of the hotel, even though they probably would want to keep you inside, isn't locked, so you can make your way out, but there isn't anybody in the hallway, and you don't even see anybody in the other rooms. So it's very empty, desolate almost. So how would you like to spend your afternoon? You'd have about maybe half the day to yourself before the nighttime comes, and then you'd be thrust back into the world of darkness.
Well, he's obviously going to head out into the street.
Okay. So when you make it to the so before you can get into the street, just interrupting you so someone actually interrupts you. There are probably some workers, like some bell people who are like organizing luggage out by the front of the lobby. And once you get to the desk and you start just marching your way out, there's a man, very sort of nondescript. He's wearing, very casual, like hotel attire. He has like a little kind of like a kind of a striped sort of suit with like a little cap. And as you're kind of making your way out to the street, the door, is that door to the sort of the front entrance is kind of not necessarily locked, but it is like barred. So there's like a bar over the door. So you can't just like, you might try to push the door open just to get out, but it kind of resists you. You could push harder, but you'd have to break, you'd have to do something. And so in that moment when you're trying to get your way out and there's like an interruption, the person behind the desk kind of gets up out of their chair and starts moving around the desk. It's like, oh, no. Where are you going?
I am going out.
You can't go out, not during the day, please. That'd be dangerous. I was told not to let you leave. Please, you need to stay here.
By who?
By Lady Anne, of course.
What is so dangerous about going out?
Well, she told me it would be bad if you made your way into the sun.
How so?
Well, it is common that if you were to walk into the sun, you would feel a great amount of pain, and you would start to decay. It is very dangerous for you to leave in the daytime. I'm surprised you're awake. Is something troubling you?
I am rested. Nothing is troubling me except for the fact that this door is shut.
Well, we normally don't have any customers during the day unless Lady Anne requires guests to be prepared. In which case, of course, I don't mean you, I mean others. You're not you are a guest of ours, but not a guest in the sense that we are only holding you temporarily. You can stay here as much as you like, and we won't charge you. Nothing like that. Please don't worry yourself with the outside.
I want to go out.
What is out there that you need? I can provide it for you, sir. I don't think we've been properly introduced.
Erravok.
Erravok.
And unless you can produce the outside, inside, you can't.
I don't plan on letting you out. Please, Erravok, it is better if you remain here.
Either you open the door, or I'll use your head as a ram to get it open myself.
Diplomacy according to dragons.
Yeah, could you roll me like a presence intimidation, please?
Mm-hmm. So,
and -1 penalty if you don't mind.
Okay. No, I can do it there. So -1. It's 5.
Okay. Shouldn't be too hard for spooking.
But what did I do wrong there?
I don't know, but I can count them manually. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. Or didn't you have that thing where you get crits on 3s? Because I think that's your kith thing.
Yeah.
On intimidation.
Where did I have that written down there? When using intimidation to enforce their dominance over others.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I thought, right? So you get a crit there?
Well, yes and no. For some reason, there's a lot of I rolled 5d10.
Yeah, I don't know. I was looking at that too. It's weird.
What the hell happened there?
You copied the code correctly. Oh, you put you didn't put the equals sign. That's what was missing. You don't need to re-roll it though. Unless you want to. You rolled it correctly. I got the 1, 2, 3.
Well,
4,
I
5.
didn't
Yeah, there's
roll
more
it
than
correctly.
five. There was more than 5 dice. Yeah, you're right
More
there.
there.
That's weird. I don't know what happened.
10.
Yeah, you have to copy it exactly. So like the equal sign's missing.
One success.
Well, that's definitely different than what you got before, so we don't need to worry about the crit. In this case, you essentially tie. So I'm going to call it in terms of you don't necessarily get exactly, you don't, he sort of, he doesn't get, he's not afraid of you, but he just sort of like, he kind of moves behind the counter. He's like, I'm sorry, please don't. And he's like, trying to like get one of the other people who's like handling the luggage. Like he's motioning them over, like, hey, do something. So the two guys, they don't necessarily grab you, but they like get behind you and they're trying to like calm you down. Like, please, sir, come with us. So now there's 2 people behind you that are sort of like kind of trying to surround you ish in the lobby.
Come where?
Back to your room, please. We can take you back to your room. This way. And there.
I don't want to go back to my room.
Please, it would be dangerous if you left.
You're beginning to annoy me.
What should we do? I don't know. Just should we grab him? I don't think so. He's huge. Please, sir, we don't want to hurt you. Just if you don't return to your room, Lady Anne will be very displeased. She's expecting you tonight.
Well, then I'll return by night.
They nod. They're like, well, all right. Please just stick to the shadows and don't make a commotion. You learned the traditions, haven't you?
Yes.
All right then. Well then I trust you will be able to handle yourself. He kind of motions over. He gets like he pulls like a key from underneath the desk. Unlocks part of the door. There's like a chain like wrapped around the little bar. He kind of undoes the chain, like lifts the bar off of the doorway, and he kind of just eases the door open. And he notices that when the sunlight kind of beams through the door and hits your flesh, your skin doesn't scald or burn. So he's a bit puzzled by that, but he allows you to go regardless. And you notice that it doesn't affect him in any way whatsoever. And you're not sure why, but you are allowed to leave, at least for now.
Okay. So he stomps out the door, Now he's in the sun.
Yes. and you don't seem to feel any strange effect as they were describing. You don't burn, you don't feel pain, you don't feel anything. It is a bit alien to you, the idea of being out in the outside in the sunlight after you've been in a strange fantasy world for a good portion of your existence, but that's not necessarily what they meant. They still had sunlight in the hedge. Most of it was blocked out by ash and clouds, but you remember at some points seeing sunlight, maybe strange sunlight refracted through crystal or some other colors, but it was certainly sunlight. The strangest thing might be that for you, the idea of the reality being so different than what you remember. And you don't really remember a lot, but you remember it wasn't like this. The cities that you saw weren't cities like this. They were fantastic. They rose above high skylines, jetting out steam and smoke. And you saw ships in the sky and cannonballs flying through the air, war, destruction, but also invention and the marvels of a steampunk world. This world feels much different, much more grounded, much more, I wouldn't even say real, but more mundane, more banal. I'm going to use the word from The Dreaming because why not? The original word that Changelings used to describe the mundane world was banality in a way. So the very sort of normal world that feels so different. But you don't feel any pain from the sun. It might just invoke this strange sensation of kind of being in this city now as you experience what it really is, or at least not what the hedge or Arcadia would have been like.
So he gives a sort of glare now that he's in full sunlight. He's bathing in it, like fucking quiet. Yeah. So
through the glass of the hotel of the doorway, you see them looking at you, and they're kind of all gathered around the window, waiting to see if you burst into flames or deteriorate. And they are kind of almost all, you can see them visibly like gasping as they watch you kind of march out into the sunlight without fear.
Sort of. For a moment there, he chuckles. Like, he turns and he sort of saunters off in a random direction. He has no real purpose on his walk at the moment, like no destination.
No.
He's just out to see what London's got to offer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see, because you're sort of in the northern part of the city, you can see, bridges, towers, cities, this, people walking, there are carriages across the street, lamps, that sort of thing. Very, very strange sort of city compared to what where you're used to seeing dragons and flames and burning buildings. A war zone. This is a city at peace, as far as you can see. A city of calm, a city that is somewhat peaceful. I mean, you might bump into somebody that might, they're usually very polite, even if you juke them. There doesn't seem to be a lot of tension in the air. There is a very calm sense of a warm, you feel on your face this warm summer breeze. It feels very different than what you're used to, but at the same time it feels perhaps calming. try to get some pictures because I'm looking for some now. These are nice. This one's a good one here. I'll share this just so you can get an idea of the skyline, sort of the city. Post a bunch of pictures. But as you're walking along, you can sort of get an idea of the different sorts of places you're seeing. You start to walk along the city. You don't have any streetwise. You don't have any kind of sense of where you are. It's all a mystery to you. This place might as well be a maze. So so for how long do you sort of wander aimlessly through the streets of London? Is it for several hours, or do you eventually find a place where you feel comfortable to stop and kind of take in something more meaningful? Hello?
No, sorry, I got busy looking at the difference
it's
between
fine.
the two. They're both roughly they are the same street,
Right.
but yeah, in the first one you can see like the Hancock chemist sort of draped down, and in the second one it's sort of like torn off or missing.
Right.
I don't know. I was just sort of playing spot the difference there for a moment. So, yeah.
Did you find Waldo?
No, I'm having trouble finding stripes in this black and white.
Do you ask for directions? Do you look around? What are you sort of doing here? You pass through as you're moving through these northern suburbs. You find these sort of hills, long walks across, and in the distance you can see peeking out from the buildings, the rivers, ever present, the bridges. That sort of sensation, like you start to get an idea of the geography of the city as you're moving around it. Just basic things.
He's going to look around for like a high point, a tower or a hill or whatever that he can.
Yeah, you can get a good vantage point from a hill, or at least a higher elevation. Sort of an elevated building.
To get a better idea of the sort of scene there.
Okay. You can make me like a wit composure, but it would depend on what you're looking for. Are you looking for a particular place?
Not really. He's just sort of taking, getting the lay of the land from higher up, sort of thing.
Sure.
Sort of
I'm just trying to find pictures to help you, but for now, you can just try to get a lay of the land with a perception.
So what was it? Wit's composure?
Yeah, please.
Any penalties or?
No, this is pretty standard. You're not really in any disadvantage here.
Wow.
This is a painting, but it might help. I mean, this feels
4 successes or 4 less.
4 successes. Ooh, nice. Getting all your good rolls out early, huh?
I didn't expect that many off that.
No, of course not. You did it correctly this time, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
It's got the this time. It rolled 4 dice.
Good.
Well, I rolled 5 because the 10 exploded. But
yeah. So you find your way through these suburbs. It's very difficult to navigate because there are so many streets. There are people everywhere. It takes you a while to find just a quiet place. There are in these villages kind of scattered about. You're basically it's you kind of going through the cities. You just get a good idea of what's going on. You kind of move between these sort of pseudo rural areas, thin strips of houses that follow the like main roads. As you're going around, you see these hills that pop out from the cities, rolling greens, ponds, sort of woods that poke out from the edges of the cities.
Mm-hmm.
A sort of what seems to be a gathering place. Bars, things like that. Fancy houses kind of situated among the geography. Inns and other sort of places where people gather. You see various the words I'm looking for are like plaques, names of authors and homes that you don't recognize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of authors that are sort of no longer in. It's actually very interesting because apparently this is where they have a lot of the inns where famous authors would visit, but there are names that you don't recognize. So they have various places that are welcoming guests, bars, inns, those sort of things. You see other men who aren't just, when these people moving into these bars, they aren't like the other people on the street. Some of them are rather large, not maybe close to your size, or maybe not taller, but maybe either rivaling your size or just underneath. There's some larger men, some of them wearing coats, things like that, as well as other people. But the concept being that you see a variety of different kinds of people, just citizens going about their day, people who seem somewhat strange but not too out of the ordinary, just mundane enough for you to pass them off. You kind of continue to move through the city, bits of woods and parks, cemeteries, things like that, churches, passing through various kind of very basic things that make up a city, but things that you'd be entirely unfamiliar with. The structure of a city is completely alien to you. You've only seen ruins and large skylines. You've watched cities fall from above. But now you're on the ground, and it almost feels like you're an ant in a larger world, or you're kind of in a box sandwiched between these buildings, unable to fly. You see palaces, large buildings, arches, a large tower. Sort of the Tower of London, if you know it. I'm not sure if you know
Yeah.
Tower of London, but these sort of large buildings that if you asked would be known to hold prisoners, or even as you hear the rumors of people, as you maybe inquire about it, that these places are thought to be haunted or have strange occurrences within them.
Yeah, it's just getting the stupid idea of Erravok trying to break into the damn palace.
I wouldn't recommend it. That would be very bad. I wouldn't want.
I claim this land.
I was going to say, I have been to, I think it was, I've been to Paris. I haven't been to London. But when I went, and I will tell this story because it is relevant, it reminded me. When we went to Paris, we walked the whole city, or at least most of it, because we were only going to be there like once or twice in our lives. So we just walked through most of the city as we could. We walked past the Parliament building, and there were, these the traditional sort of guards, but they had, these machine guns, and they even pointed at us as a joke. They're like joking around. So I imagine if they see you as this very large, imposing man kind of approaching the Parliament, you might be dissuaded by the guards outside who clearly have weaponry in themselves. But if you want to try to attack the Queen, or no, the Queen doesn't. The Queen isn't a palace.
I think George was reigning then, wasn't he?
It's Victorian London, so.
Victorian. Oh yeah. Wait, no. So it was Victoria.
Correct.
So why did I think George straight away? I don't know. Idiot.
That was
before Victoria. My mind is in the gutter.
It's fine. You also see gutters. That'd be relevant. The particular the area where you would be, you would see the Westminster Palace is the one I'm thinking of as you're exploring the city.
So
you just take a tour of London. This whole session is just you taking a tour. But you do continue along your journey. You find your way towards, through the river, on the coast. You're kind of still continuing along that route. I'm trying to see how long. And you've only been walking maybe 20, 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The city is fairly condensed. When you make it towards the bridges, you can see the river kind of flowing through the entire city from where you walked to where you are now. It all feels very connected.
Okay, so he's got a pretty good lay of things then. The fuck?
So, as you kind of stare out along the river, what do you choose to do from there? You walk for maybe about a half hour. From the river, do you walk back, or do you just try to follow the river or find another place to? Oh, I'm muted. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. I don't know. Were you saying something?
Well, you had me muted.
Yeah, I was my sound was off for some reason. It's the way what were you saying? I think I was getting confused. Because I was talking, I didn't realize you were speaking. I'm sorry.
Well, let's see. So now he's got a pretty decent load. You got to be kidding!
That was weird.
At least you're
Good
okay.
doggy. Fucking camera just sort of falls out.
I saw it.
So now that he's got a good lay of the land, other than like the palace or whatnot, is there anything like really special that stands out?
I mean, besides the normal landmarks that
Yeah.
you would pick out,
Or just nothing outside of the normal landmarks?
nothing that you notice that would be very strange. The towers, the asylums, those sort of things are known to be more on the fringe, let's say. The prisons, the asylums, those are the places that people are afraid to speak about. And as you kind of continue wandering towards the heart of the city, do you cross along the bridges, or do you stay along where you were, or do you kind of move further into the heart of the city?
He'd head into the heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you head across the bridges, you walk along the bridge itself, kind of seeing the water kind of dip. You've seen bridges before. It's not entirely foreign to you, the idea of like seeing a bridge over the water, because you've been to these
I
cities.
see what's going on. Hang on a sec. It's sort of
Sure. Take your time.
there. It was sort of tangled with the headphone cord.
Oh, okay.
So it's like moved the wrong way and it sort of tugged on the fucking thing.
Got you. So you actually walk across the bridge, maybe circle around until you find more of these towns. You walk along a park, through a parkway, and eventually, crossing across libraries and other sort of very eclectic sort of places. A museum, wax museum, which was actually open around this time. Yeah, those sort of things, places of art and literature. You move upwards into the northern parts of the city where there are more canals, parks. Inside of the parks, as you're walking, you see a zoo, those sort of things, with lions and tigers, caged in the. I don't know about tigers, but it does say lions are housed here. So you do see these beasts being caged in the zoo, as well as some houses that border this town, this park. And as you pass further and further north, the city starts to dissipate, and you see some parts of London that are more destitute and needy.
Mm-hmm.
These sort of places that were described, as it says, described in books like Oliver Twist, these sort of slums of London that house, as you can see, people that seem to be of different races. Much like yours, immigrants, people from less well-to-do, the fortunes than yours. You have been accepted into the higher society, but these people have been left behind. You kind of walk through these slums and find a certain calmness and acceptance from them. the people who walk across the streets might have given you strange looks, but the people who are here, they're almost in awe of you. A bit surprised.
Behold, Robin Hood has appeared. And he's big. And he's black. And
He doesn't have a bow.
he doesn't have a bow. But yeah, joking aside, he's gonna, take a look around this place.
Yeah. As you take a look around, you continue to walk through the slums. There's a long tunnel that kind of loops around the area and kind of connects it to the city. You see, this long tunnel is shrouded in darkness. You kind of walk. You have to walk through this tunnel where there are rats, clearly sort of not awake, because most of them are sort of more used to the dark. But when they kind of brush up against your legs, you can clearly feel them.
Mm-hmm.
I got some Chinese food.
That's good. Are you talking about the rats or you?
The meat.
What, the Chinese do pizza now?
No, my pizza place apparently doesn't do my skip the dishes anymore. So I was
No.
What's next on my list of foods I need to go to?
I find this actually very funny. Let me see how far it would take for you to get here. As you pass through the tunnel, you loop back around, back past the park. You find yourself along another street. You just kind of keep going in circles as you explore a different part of the city. You go north, then you go back around, you go west.
I'm like, is Nova just Google mapping it?
I'm actually, I have a path going now. But just so I can show you different parts of the city, you kind of loop back around, and you see, Baker Street, that sort of thing. The more,
hey, we can use a detective.
Yeah, exactly. You want to meet Sherlock Holmes? I'm not sure, but you could if you want. Just knock on his door. Sort of nearing more the west end, you just continue to walk your way along the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't find anything particularly interesting. You could walk the city for hours, but you end up making a stop because you've been walking the city for several hours at this point, and you haven't really found anything that catches your interest. There isn't anything here that you see that would be relevant to you. But you're just trying to get an idea of the area.
Yeah.
You get that, but beyond that, there isn't anything that you find that immediately catches your interest. The city is, as I said, very mundane.
Yeah, so there was nothing going on that day. It was just a Tuesday.
Basically.
The birds were chirping in the skies. The people scurried around doing whatever it was they were doing. But it was Tuesday.
Yeah, for you it's the first day that you've really been in a city like this, but for them it's completely normal, just another day.
Yeah. Nothing out of the ordinary. No bank heists, no Guy Fawkes night, no nothing.
No, it's actually fairly peaceful. I mean, you you have magical sight. So if you want to look for something that's completely out of the ordinary, you could. But you'd have to make another roll for that if you want. If you want to search for things that are deliberately kind of supernatural, you can, because you have a kenning.
Oh, not really supernatural. I mean, it could be supernatural, but yeah, it's like anything that's lively or somewhat remotely intriguing. It could be a fucking clown balancing on a damn ball or something. I don't know.
You don't see a clown, but
The weirdest thing is that in the world of darkness, it could actually be possible to see that.
a clown. Clown is actually
But
Georgie.
you were saying I could roll something.
yeah, you can roll kenning because it's basically your supernatural sense.
Oh, they all float down here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not Stephen King. I'm not gonna start with the clowns.
You're flat too. You're flat too. You're flat too.
I no, that's not happening.
Okay.
Let's
Wait,
see. Maybe kenning rolls. So you.
What is that? Kenning?
Yes, I'm
What the
gonna
hell is
see
kenning?
how this works. You can sense supernatural phenomena, and basically I'm the one who rolls. Oh, I roll it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any such thing like kenning on my sheet.
Yeah, it's not on your sheet.
It's not existent.
It's an ability that you have. I'm just checking to see. Yeah, so you spend willpower for this to open your senses to the supernatural, and then I make.
Jeez.
And then I make. a roll.
It's good that I fought Captain Jack Sparrow the last concession.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. How many boxes of clarity do you have? Because that's what I needed to know.
4.
4? Okay. Cool.
So spend a willpower, so that goes back down to fucking 2.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Very good. Okay. So let me tell you what happens.
Mhm.
You see. Actually, what ends up happening is you actually, again, double back around. You're exploring the city, and you switch into this sense of the unnatural. So you start trying to peer between what is the mundane and what is the supernatural. You search for any sign of anything that might be strange or out of place. You notice along one of these manor houses, these places that you passed by on your journey into the city, you find an alleyway, and in that alleyway you notice the place where you entered, the portal that you found your way through when you originally tumbled into the city itself.
Mm-hmm.
That portal is still there. It's sort of a threshold, you can say. There's sort of a turn. So the alley goes into one direction, and then it curves off to the left. And what you see when you look at the portal through your sight is that that alleyway kind of just continues off into a mist. It's almost as if it's like a threshold, or like one of those doors from Dark Souls. You kind of push through it, and then it would enter into another world. So you see this near. You kind of recognize that this is a place where the portal was. So if you wanted to, you could spend a glamour and step into the hedge here.
No one turned off the mirror.
I wouldn't recommend it, but you know that this portal is still active, so it'd be easy for you to enter and exit the hedge from this portal here.
Mm-hmm.
Around behind these manors.
Yeah.
So you find the portal that you entered from.
He'll make note of it, but he won't step in right now.
I wouldn't suggest it. Of course you can, but I definitely wouldn't suggest. Is there anything else you'd like to investigate? Because you would have about another hour or two before it starts to become dark.
Suddenly, 3 trolls jump through.
Ah, get him! No, I will actually say you don't notice. You're not the storyteller. Yeah, you don't notice any figures kind of emerging from the portal, so it does seem to be inactive at this point.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. Fucking. So, I guess he's going to perhaps approach one of these, destitute foreigners.
Sure. Okay. So you come back around, and before the sun kind of dips, you make your way back to the slums.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you like to do there?
Well, he approach some random person. I don't know, perhaps.
Okay,
if there's any Africans there, then maybe
along the street. Okay, just someone who looks similar to you.
Similar, or if there's no similar, then he might even just approach
someone similar.
Irish person, whatever.
You can see someone who, of course, they don't match your build or your physique, but they seem to be of your kind.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean your kind?
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. You people.
Well, I mean, they don't seem to be a slave necessarily, but of your,
Of your heritage.
Of your heritage, yeah.
So, this person that's of my heritage, what are they doing? Well,
they're just kind of begging on the street. They're begging on the street, begging for money, begging for food. Please, anything, please. And they look very disheveled and distraught, very, very sad, very sorrowful. You can feel the emotions kind of male, and you can feel the emotions kind of wafting off of them. And this is a moment where you could harvest some of the glamour, if you wish, from their horrifyingly destitute state, because you can almost feel how terrified and how sad they are.
So how would that work?
That's a different. So you would have to. You would choose the dice pool for that, or I would. It would depend on how you want to approach them and kind of draw out the emotion. But you have to find a way to draw out the emotion using some kind of pool. So you would choose how you wish to draw it out of them. You could give them money. You could appear kind to them, that sort of thing. But you have to provide some kind of rule to initiate this.
No, I'm not really sure what it fit there.
You could simply. I don't think you're trying to actually antagonize them.
No,
but you could if you're.
I'd say it's probably more a socialize.
Yeah, socialize, and then for the attribute you could use presence or manipulation, or you're just trying to get along with them. Manipulation might make sense.
Well, he's not really trying to manipulate.
No, manipulation is basically, social maneuvering. It's not.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so that gives me a generous 2 dice.
You get +2 bonus because the emotion is very potent.
Okay, so that gives me a very generous 4 dice up from 2.
So you're trying to speak to them. I'm assuming you're just kind of having a conversation and.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's sort of going to walk up and it's like, well, what are you doing here, brother? Basically, it's sort of.
He kind of looks up at you. He's like, kind of confused for a moment.
Is he an opium addict?
Well, it's not something that he would be able to tell. Oh, 0. Okay.
Yeah, big fat Greek wedding.
Yeah, it's out of character.
Well, I was trying to see if he would get any successes on that, but nope.
So I got 3 threes. It's a pretty strong poker hand.
No,
we're not playing Yahtzee.
You see, essentially, you can feel this emotion kind of dripping off of him, and you try to draw it out through this conversation, but the conversation isn't very deep or meaningful. You don't draw emotion from him. He's just kind of hey, he's just kind of confusedly blinking and looking at you, and he almost is kind of in a way afraid of your presence. He doesn't want to speak with you. He kind of doesn't recognize you as one of his own. He disassociates with you. He tries to escape. He actually scrambles to the floor, picks up his change. He tries to
Oh,
run.
is that a botch?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just a failure.
Okay. I was gonna say it sounded a lot like a botch. So I was like,
no, it just doesn't go well. He's this guy just doesn't seem to be very comfortable with Erravok. Something kind of feels wrong about him. Oh yeah, he kind of gasps a little bit, kind of horror.
He's just going, "Oh, I ate a lot."
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I mean, I could add sound effects.
Of course.
But that wasn't intentional.
Oh, I see. Okay. I was kind of imagining something like that anyway.
Yeah. So he sort of watches, confused as he runs off after gathering up these coins or whatever.
Right.
And he's sort of going to continue. He's going to look around for someone nearby. Perhaps again, it's like, what was that about? Pretty.
Right. You see again on the street. You see at this point maybe some Irishmen, like you mentioned before, kind of arguing that's mine, and they're fighting over some crumbs or some bread or something on the floor, and they're kind of kicking and punching each other. And again, you can feel these emotions kind of bubbling to the surface as you watch them kind of fight against each other on the street.
Mm-hmm.
This is where Erravok becomes a champion of the people.
So I'll give you another chance here, but you're eating up time, so either way, it's fine.
This is where he shows up with. He's going to use his physical presence and
Okay.
Intimidation to try and mediate here. It's like,
okay,
it's like, what's going on here? Big booming voice as he looms over the Irish people, and I probably get a critical fail here, and it's
right.
hey, we're gonna give you a 1 and a 2 and get beat up by fucking Irish dudes.
I will say it is going to be a -1 but it's not going to be a massive penalty. But you don't get a bonus because this is mostly more of a fleeting emotion from them. It's not,
Yeah.
they're not very angry. They're just like kind of having a small fight. It's not really as strong as the emotion that you felt before.
Okay. So,
Say I didn't try to help you, man.
yeah, you didn't try to help me. Screw you. Roll for. Shit.
Hi, now who the fuck is this black bastard?
Two successes.
3.
Okay. It says 2.
Oh, idiot. Thinking of what is it I'm thinking of where the 10s are 2 successes?
That's exalted.
Exalted, yeah.
You do get 2 glamour.
All right. Awesome.
And they kind of immediately disperse, and you can feel their anger kind of leaching out of you. Don't actually drain all of it, like that's not how it works. You're not draining the anger out of them, but you kind of scoop up a bit off the top as they kind of disperse from the scene, and they leave.
Everyone's buggering off,
and they leave these breadcrumbs out.
It's almost like you're a big scary black man.
Hey, let him have it.
Does something stink? Is it me? It's like he's just asking, what's going on here?
You kind of look at yourself and you realize you're dressed in these very fine clothes.
Well, I'm surprised he hasn't been mugged for him yet. It's like, oh, look, there's a big toff is here yelling at us in the slums.
I don't know. Would you mug Andre the Giant? Like,
this guy twice.
Perhaps if I was desperate and I had like some club and I approached from behind in like a dark alley and had 10 guys to back me up, perhaps.
Yeah, but right now you're in the middle of the street. It's bright out, and there aren't really a lot of people that you see with like weapons coming at you. But there does seem to be some more. You notice a lot more raw emotions in this place compared to the city. People are very calm, but here you kind of see the expressions of the more raw emotions of everyday life. And with that, you're a little more satisfied. It's not enough to fully kind of restore your glamour, but you get sort of a sense of that.
Yeah.
After that, it would start to become more. The sun would start to depart along the horizon, and you'd see that it would be close to time for you to return to the hotel.
Mm-hmm. So I guess he'll saunter back then, or
Okay. So you return to the hotel before it gets dark.
Just as it's peaking dark, I don't know.
Do you wait in your room, or do you wait in the hallway? Like, because you know that Anne is coming. Like, where do you prepare yourself for that? Do you just stay in your room? Do you like wait in the lobby? That sort of thing.
I guess he'd probably return to his room.
Okay. So you return to your room. It's quiet for maybe about another hour. You're waiting in silence, and you can see again the contrast. The lamp, the gas lights kind of rise in the dark. The city is not completely quiet. There are people still wandering the streets. It's not. There's a bell that goes off. They have, from what I looked into, they do have they tell the time with these bells for curfew, but they don't actually enforce a curfew.
I was like, is it Big Ben a thing, or is that in a different town?
No, I wasn't sure. I honestly, because here's the thing with me is I usually don't pick cities that I haven't been to because it's very clear that I don't have a feel for the city. But I'll look up when Big Ben was, because I actually have no idea, to be honest with you. I will look because
It was there for World War II, I believe.
right, it says 1860s. So yeah, we're in the. Let me look because I wrote this down. Yeah, 1880s. So yeah, no, Big Ben's there. So yeah, big clock, bang, rang, rang. You know, I don't know what kind of noise it makes.
Bangarang.
I am definitely not well versed in this kind of setting area, but you're in the hotel. The you know you can see the city transition to night. That's the point I'm trying to make. And you eventually hear footsteps kind of moving in the hallway. Again, your senses are a bit sharper than normal, not unlike Kindred, but in a slightly different way. You hear footsteps, and that's where I think I'm going to leave off.
Okay.
We transition to the next session. So everyone here, the three of you, get a beat for participating. So that's one for Dustin. And then did you get any other? Let me check if you had any other conditions that came up.
Did I get a beat for doing the bargain or?
Bargain? Oh no, you don't get a beat for that. No.
Okay.
Well, apparently Alistair is
Yes, I just
at
noticed
work
that.
home now.
One of my aspiration was finding out what Willem was, so I guess I get a bit more for that.
I will ask Silver if he wants to do another scene. I might be able to. It just depends on what you guys want to do.
Sure, if he has time.
Yeah, I'm asking mostly for Lisa.
Oh yeah, person who doesn't have or has a weird time zone.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Stay there. Fucking.
I can't. I'm not seeing this right now, but just hearing it, it's like, oh.
That does not sound good. I'm gonna try to get some food real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. I'll throw these extra plum sauces in the fridge. Because they gave me way too much for the two little things I had for.
Realize that it's supposed to. I'm sure it told me a few hours ago. I forgot that I was supposed to say something. Okay, hold on. I have to find the. Where did they go? You see. Let me ask them if they actually want to join in or not.
Oh shit! What did I do there? So that's 3 or 5 beats then from
What did-
that.
Did Lisa say anything? I wasn't here if they said.
Lisa, you there?
Oh, yeah. I haven't
They must have went to get a drink or something.
Okay, that's fine.
Hopefully they're not asleep.
I'll be
that's
back.
That's what I'm worried about. They might be asleep. But if nothing else, I can have a scene with the two of you, I guess.
Yeah. I think she wanted to talk to Williem a bit more than Lisa.
Yeah. I'm going to try texting them on Discord to make sure they're not asleep. Because they might have passed out. I wouldn't blame them. To be honest, it is late for them.
Mhm.
I'm just looking for I can't remember where the conditions are. We can take our time. I'm not in a huge rush. I might take a break for a bit to eat, but besides that, I'm good.
If we take our time,
Yeah.
we stick together.
Because I was going to pause because I was hungry, but I want to see what he says. Let's see. Where's the condition? Oh, here we go. Here it was. Conditions.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, Nova.
Yeah.
I still was there. I just forgot to demute the mic.
Oh, okay. We thought you. Okay. I'm waiting to see what they said. Okay, they're too tired. Okay.
I was asking. One of my aspirations was finding out what Willem was. So do I get a bit for that?
Yes, that would be completed.
Okay. So now what were you? What did you want to ask me?
Oh, no. You're good. So that would be, so you get a beat for that. Make sure you mark that. And you get a beat for participating. So make sure you mark that one as well.
Thank you. So that would be 3 bits so far.
Yeah. And then besides that, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I just need to make sure because Silver was saying that they're tired. So we can do that scene on Wednesday.
Okay, so does that mean I should go and let you leave you alone for now?
Oh, yeah. We're done now.
Okay, well, good night and thank you for the game.
Yes. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Okay, I'll stop the broadcast and then we can talk if you want. I'm just gonna be eating.